Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdul Hadid, and in this tutorial we will learn about the Linux file system and the file system hierarchy and all about the Linux file system. What is the file system and how we can use in Linux. Let's start. In Linux system everything is a file, and if it is not a file, it is a process. A file does not only text file, images and compiled program, but also include partitions, hardware, device drivers and directories. Linux consider as everything as a file. Files are always case sensitive, like this. Make dir learn it is a case sensitive. The first letter of this word learn is capital and one is small. These both are different files and directories. Because Linux's file system is case sensitive. As example, there are three types of files in the Linux file system. Regular file, it contains programs, executable file and text files. Regular file, how to create regular file. Sudo is for permission, and we can create any file with the touch command. Touch learning Python. .py is the Python extension. It is a programmable file. It's asking for a password. Now ls, we have created a regular file of programmable file. Then other are directory files. It is shown in blue. It contains list of file like this. Blue, in blue there is directory files. We have make with mkdir command. In the third file there is block file, character device file, name pipe file, symbolic link file, socket file. ls-l. As you can see here, in the special files, in the block file, you will see here start with B. For a socket file, you will see it will start with S. These are the permissions. We will learn in the next video, because we have to first know what is a file and what is a file system in Linux. We will starting from this now. Then commands and file command is used for determine file type. Like there are many files, I want to delete just one file, then I write file and file name. Then touch is used for create file, rm is used for remove file, cp used for copy file, and mv to remove move a file, and rename is used for rename a file. We will carry on this later. First of all, we have to learn about the Linux file system, because it is the Linux file system is very must to know for every beginner. What is Linux file system? Linux file system is a structured collection of files on a disk drive or a partition. A partition is a segment of memory and contains some specific data, like this. These are the partition of pictures, music, video, documents. These are the partition, and each segment of memory, each file have some specific data. In our machine there can be various partitions of the memory. We can during the installation we can create many directories. Generally every partition contains a file system. The general purpose computer system need to store data systematically so that we can easily access the file in less time. In store the data on hard disks or some equivalent storage type. There may be below some reasons for maintaining the file system. Primarily the computer saves data to the RAM storage. It may lose the data if it gets turned off, and data storage is preferred as hard drives as compared to standard RAM, as RAM costs more than disk space. Then the Linux file system contains the following section: the root directory, sudo su, then it is a root user, learn slash is the directory. The specific data storage format ext3, ext4 we will learn in the next Linux file system structure. A particle or logical volume having a particle file system, like in the Linux file system has a Linux file system is built in a layer of a Linux OS used to handle the data management of the storage. It helps to arrange the data, arrange the file on the disk storage. It manages the file names, file size, creation date, and much more. Yes. Less cell. As we can see, this is the file system. We have create file learning python.py. It's in the Linux file system. Tell us about the file permissions. We can rewrite just this file, and the creating date or time of file is 1139, and file name is this, and month is this. If we have an unsupported file format in our file system, we can download any third-party software to deal with it. like uh, touch head or ls. This is a extension, it is not used. We can deal with any unsupported file format with the third-party tools. Then next we carry on to Oracle system structure. Linux file system structure. Linux file system has a hierarchical file structure as it contains a root directory and a subdirectory. As I shown you in the last video, for this we can use the tree command like this. In this directory we have a command like tree. It shows us this file in a tree format, hierarchical format, and it tells us it's have two directories and two files. Directories are the regular files, it's contain blue color. All other directories we can access from the root directory. A partition usually has only one file system, but it may have more than one file system. It is the image of better understanding. Kernel is the OS and virtual file system is the we have create file in Linux, and the below are the types ext3, hpfs, vfat ext4 and FreeBSD. These are the types. These are the type. During the install of Linux operating system, Linux offers many file system. We can select any of the file system, like if during the installation in the OS is the kernel, and virtual file system during the installation it tells us select any. We can select ext3, hpvs, FreeBSD, and there are many types of Linux file system. In the ext and ext3 and ext4 like this. This file system extends for extended file system, and it is more used for longer use, and it have some limitation. We will and the for the we will learn later about all of these file system. Then the last layer is hardware. Hardware is the RAM and hard disk of our system. In the above layer there is file system. We select during the installation, like we have select FreeBSD file system on our kernel OS Linux. Understand? Linux directory structure. Directories can be organized in a tree-like hierarchy in Linux and other OS. The directory structure of Linux is well documented and defined in the Linux file system hierarchical standard. Also, directories are called folder. They can be assumed of as folders where files reside in the form of physical desktop energy. Directories may be organized in a tree hierarchy in Linux, as I shown you practically, and they are uh, there were short defined standard of top level Linux directory list and purposes. These slash is the root file system. It is the top level file system directory. It must include every file needed to boot the Linux system before another file system is mounted. Every other file system is mounted on a well-defined and standard mount point because of the file system directories after the system is started. I hope uh, you note clear now this point. I will show you directly practically how we can access this root file. And slash boot is used for it's include the static kernel and bootloader configuration and executable file needed to start a Linux computer. I shown you practically. cd slash etc ls cd boot. Now this command shows us we are in the root directory. This command shows us we are here in the root directory, and for a boot this is the boot file directory. We can boot from this command. And the bin file is user executable file. The directory includes bin file here. This is the bin file ls. In this bin file all executable file, we can execute any file from this. When we boot any command and execute any command, it will come here and execute from here. In the dev file and other is dev device file for hardware. It includes the device file for all hardware devices connecting to the system, like mouse, keyboard, USB and other the output devices we connect with our system that needs device file for hardware. We can the Linux is used for this. cd dev ls. We can connect any of the hardware device. It will access any of these file for the connection and connect with the any hardware device. Then other one is etc. It is the most used local system configuration file. It includes the local system files for the host system. We will learn etc in it contains all the certificate and the configuration files we can run on the host machines. From here we can work on the host machine. This etc file is used. Then other one is lib file, shared. It includes shared library files and need to start the system. cd we can start system with this file. And other one is home directory. Home directory storage is available for user files. All user have a subdirectories and subdirectory inside home. This is the host file. And other one is mount. It is a temporary mount point for basic file systems that can be used at the time when the administrator is working or repairing a file system. Understand? Then media / media file directories, place for mounting external removable media devices like USB media drives and that might be linked to the host. Then /opt file is the optional application files. It contains optional files like supplied application programs that must be placed here for the check practically. These are the opt file. I have installed some software. Some software like Content-D, Docker Desktop, Google and Vagrant. These are all create their opt file in my system. Then other one is root. It is the home directory for the root user. In the first root directory for a root user, keep in mind that it is not the /root file system. cd root. Now we are in the home. cd snap ls. It is the home directory for the root user. In the root user we can run our commands. This will not ask for a password and in this root file system where this / when we run command in this /root file, this will ask for a password and other one is temporary file directory. It is a temporary directory used by the OS and the several programs storing temporary files. Also users may temporarily store file here. Remember that file may be removed without your notice. At any time it can be removed from this directory. Then other one is has been system administration executables. They are system binaries files. They are executable and utilized for system administration. Go through this cd spin ls. These are all binaries file and executable and utilized for the system admin works. Then other one is user. These are the read-only executable libraries and documentation, and they can read and shareable just. Then other one is var file, variable file. They store variable data files, and it contains things such as database files, log files, and email and web server data files, and much more like this. It contains and used for monitoring and logging. Go through this cd var ls. From this we can access metrics. From metrics we can monitoring of system and backups, logs. We can check logs of the system working. Our OS will save all the working here in these directories. Then other one is Linux file system features, or Linux use forward slashes instead of backslashes. For example, like this are the forward slashes cd cd matrix, like this. These are the path forward slashes. And other Linux file system features are partition and drive. Linux not use drives. We have a data here, not have any directory and partitions. Then network devices and directories all are addressed similarly. Case sensitive, as I have shows in the first, there are two different files, learn directory, and where learn is small l from, and one is capital L. These are two directories. Like this, these are two different directories. Here L is first capital word is, and first word is small. It is a case sensitive. And file extension, Linux file extension don't need extensions. Graphical file manager help differentiate files and directories. In Linux, a file may have an extension like txt, but it is not necessary that a file should have a file extension. Working with shell, it creates some problem for the beginners to differentiate between files and directories. If we use graphical file manager, it symbolizes the files and folder. Like uh, in in the first we have learned there are three types of file: special file, regular file, and the uh, third is the directory files. In the directory file, it's shown in blue color, and regular file is executable file, and text file, and special file. Then other one is hidden files. Hidden files start with a dot, like dot ignore. They are typically configuration file, can be accessed by changing the view settings or specifying command in the shell. Like we have create touch dot ignore. Less. We have created a dot ignore file, but it is not showing here. It is a hidden file. Then now come to the story of hierarchical file system, virtual file system. As we have talked about the exe3, FPFS, VVAT, these are virtual file system are installed on the hardware. These are the trio of Linux file system, and exe1 is used for if we select during the installation. It is outdated and it have some limitation, and exe2 is manage 2024 GB of data, 48 GB of data, 2048 GB of data, and exe3 upgraded of exe2, and lack file discovery and snapshot, and exe4 is fastest and ideal for SSDs. Default is in Linux. During the installation, if we not select any of the file system, it will automatically select exe4. Then GFS file system developed by IBM and for AIX Unix, and alternative to exe4, stable with low CPU usage. It will minimize the CPU usage, and it is the alternate of exe4 that is default in Linux. RazorFS file system is alternative to exe3. It have better performance but have some lag for file recovery and snapshots. Then other one is XFS. It is high speed parallel IO processing used by NASA for large storage servers. Then BTRFS, binary tree file system, good for fault tolerance and repair, not ideal for production system. It is no used for DevOps work. ML work where all the work for the production. Then other one is swap. Swap is the most common and used in every installation, used for memory paging and hibernation. Swap space should equal RAM size is if hibernate is used. It is the some space for we release. Then other one is what is mounting is Linux file system. Mounting in Linux refer to making a file system accessible. Historically, this means physically mounting a disk, then logically mounting the file system. What is a mounting? First of all, In Linux, to mount a file system term, like to mount this file, like mount the home directory, to mount a refer to the initial day of computing, when a removable disk or physically need to be mounted on a correct device, drive device. On the disk back, uh, the file system would logically be mounted by the OS to make content available to access the application program, OS, and users after being located on the drive physically. Simply, a mount point is a directory that made as a component of the file system. For instance, the home file system is placed on the home directory. Clear? File system can be placed on mount point on many non-root file system, but it is less common. I hope we have some clear this point of mounting system in Linux file system. The home file system is placed on home directory, like this is the now assume that this is the mounting system. It is in the assume that LAN is the mounting system, directory is the file mounted file, and it is located in this directory. Sure, okay. Then the root file system of Linux is mounted on a directory very earlier inside the boot sequence. Several file systems are later mounted by the startup program of Linux, either via systemd, startup mounting handled by RC or systemd, and file system mounting during startup is handled by the configuration file /etc/fstab cd/etc. fstab. Clear. Less fstab. Setting for cdfs tab has a configuration file used for mount our directory configuration. File systems are mounted using the mount command on empty directories, like now we have mount mount. The mount command show us when used this argument. Mount command will display all currently attached file systems. These are all attached with the systems. By default, the output includes virtual ones such as C group and S file system function like this, and the directory to which the device is mounted, the type of the file system, and the mount option. We can check with this command. Now we are checking which file is using this file system. exe4, it is by default in Linux. To mount a file system in a given location, mount point, use the we will use sudo mount. Sudo mkdir minus slash usb. I have created a this directory, and I will mount this directory with the command sudo mount slash dev std1 slash media slash usb. Mount does not exist. We have created this file. cd slash media. It has some problem. We will mount the directory in the next video. I hope you have cleared now what is the mounting in Linux file system, and how to mount a file, mount on a empty directories, hide the original content, and what is the types of Linux file system, and Linux file system features, and Linux directory structures, Linux file system structure, and what is Linux file system. I hope you have clear all these concept of Linux file system, and in the next video we will go through with this command and mount a file and remove, rename and create file and work practically in the next video. Thank you.